All right, we are live, and I'm excited to be here with my good friend Dan Hilsman. This is one of our top 200 interviews for our builders here at EXP in the Honey Badger Group. And there's no one I'm more excited to interview than you, Dan. This has been something I've been looking forward to having this conversation and sharing the things that are working and how to build an organization. And you've done a phenomenal job of that. So I'm excited to be here with you. Why don't you, Dan, kind of just share your backstory, how, what you were doing in real estate. You came on board in EXP a few years ago and kind of what that growth has looked like and kind of some of the numbers behind your growth.
Yeah, so that's great. So happy to be on. Thank you for the opportunity. So Dan Hilsman, been licensed over 20 years. I was a struggling agent for a lot of those years, finally figured out a little bit about real estate, started selling a little bit over $4 million. And, it was a good number for me to bring home some money and have a comfortable life. My wife works, so a little juggling of our kids. I can still coach college. I coach my son's baseball. He actually is a college baseball player, so I guess some of that panned out. But so still can coach his games, go to my daughter's cheerleading games, and maintain a pretty high quality of life. And then I started looking around and found EXP Realty, did some due diligence, found Jay. So I'm a little bit of an unusual story in that somewhat of self-sponsored, found Jay online and, had I think maybe 3 phone calls with Jay and, had a good relationship. I had a list of things that the person that I was going to come on with at EXP needed to hit, and Jay hit all those items. So I was excited to find who I was looking for. I had a list of who I was looking for. Didn't know the person's name though. So pretty cool that it wound up being Jay. And as I tell Jay, I've attributed a lot of my success at EXP to Jay and his systems. And then Jay usually gets on to me and says, "Hey man, you were humble, hungry, and smart." And I said, "Well, yeah, but you had the systems for me to work hard on." So yeah, right. Happy to be at EXP and growing a big organization, but more importantly, helping other agents to grow their business, which, the model allows me, the more agents I can help them be successful and grow their business, the more successful I am. So stars are all lined up.
Right. Feels good. That's for sure. So what is your group size up to now? And how many FLQAs do you have?
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. About 2 months ago, I started looking because I noticed Brent Gove, saw something he had out where what his group number was in closings. So I thought that's pretty cool. Let me go back in and check mine out. So the year prior to coming to EXP Realty, closed 21 deals. Since coming to EXP in 2020, now I've been there at that point, a little bit over a year at that point. Coming up on my third year, but I had a little bit of 218. Second year, 218. But 2020 numbers are 985 closings that my group did. So, how do you take a regular agent doing 21 deals and struggling with a team? I'd been a broker a long time ago, had the bright idea, hey, I'll get my broker's license, open my own company, keep all the money. Yeah. Yeah, that was, like I said, a young, ambitious, bright idea. And then I was broker in charge for a small company. We had 9 agents a long time ago and then a team leader. But so arguably I can never get over 9 agents. And, I don't know, with those 9 agents, we might have closed 50 deals or so. So to go from that level to having a group at 985 is a pretty big deal. But the cool thing about that is I don't know, I'd be happy to know them and love to help them, but I don't know who most of those closings are and haven't met them, hadn't talked to them, but I get a little bit of income when they have a closing. And if they ever reached out to me, I'd be more than happy to help them. But model is beautiful in that respect.
Yep, no question about that. And I say the same thing. There's over 5,000 in the organization now in Honey Badger Nation, and I would love to talk to all of them. But the reality is, 400 and something people joined the group in the last 30 days, and that is the beauty of the model. I didn't probably have conversations with all those people, obviously, right? So definitely a lot of leverage in the model. And so let's talk. So FLQA count, what is that at in the overall group?
Yeah. So my real numbers are 44. I brought over 44 in just under 3 years.
Right.
Of the 44, 37 are here. 4 of them are married. 14 FLQA. So the last couple of months been working really hard on helping agents to sell homes. have some part-time agents, have full-time jobs, whatnot. Next month, I should pick up 4 FLQAs, so that'll take me to 14 and 4, so 18, 17, 18, so I'll get back to level 4 income. So 44, 37, 14, and a total group size of 476.
Nice.
Yeah. So that'd be 500, real close to I was hoping that would be 500 by the end of the month, but the real goal was for that to be 500 before my anniversary date, which is April 6th. But the calendar, it's May 1st. So, yeah, that's a big deal. And, that goal just came about last year. That wasn't a goal from day one.
Right.
Day one, my goal was probably 50.
Right.
I don't know. I think I wanted 10.
Let's talk about that, because now growth rate wise, what is that growing at percentage wise per month? I always want to ask this question because I want everybody to understand. Number one, if you go do the math, you basically brought less than 1 agent on per month since you've been here, right?
Just over because 44 agents and so coming up on 36 months. So
right, a little over one a month, and so. And it's important for people to get that, because I think a lot of folks get concerned with that feels like it's moving slow, but that's just my numbers are not much different than that either, right? Like 2 point something people per month is about what is average since I've been here. So don't expect to be bringing over. If you're bringing over 10 people a month, good for you. You're just going to get there a lot faster. But it's not the norm for the folks that have the larger organizations to only be average and bringing over a small number of people every month. So that's just something to take note of.
Yeah.
And so talk about the momentum when you got in. What was what did you do? What worked? What didn't work? How did it go since joining?
Well, when I first got in, nothing worked. So you come in and I came in and told all my friends what I was doing, and they thought I was crazy and wish me luck. Got a few pats on the back, and a couple guys, kicked me in the ass and said, "Hey, why don't you shut up and go over there and figure it out and report back? And if you're having any success, then we'll talk again."
Right.
So first couple of months, a lot of conversations. Didn't know what I was doing. Talking about EXP. A lot of people didn't want to hear about it, saying all the things they didn't want to hear, and they weren't. No, I'm not interested in moving. Can't believe you moved. Where's a lot of the conversations.
Right.
And then I would try to talk to the people that I didn't know very well, and then they're, even less success there. So, but not too long later, I brought over a friend, and he also came over for lower fees. He kept pointing out the board. It was kind of an easy guy to bring over. We're at a meeting, at a Chick-fil-A at a table, and I kept telling him all about the stuff he didn't ask or want to hear about. Looking back, it's kind of funny, but he kept just pointing to my pad, going $50. That's why I'm coming over. And I'd go, yeah, but let me tell you about.
Right.
And back then it's 50, and they had the once a year fee, which if you totaled it up, it was $85 a month. So, the same numbers, but looking back, I should have stopped talking and quit telling him about the stuff he didn't want to hear that he didn't hear anyway. Right. And he came over, and then I'm like, well, so-and-so came over, and then that helped a little bit. So then I could have a little bit more conversations. And then it's just timing for some people. I remember, pretty early in, I flew Michael Reese in town, and I'm not the kind of guy who flies people in town. So that was even kind of strange to me. I was like, heck, I didn't even fly out of town much less pay and fly people in town. So, putting together this big event with 90 people, well, we had 90 seats. And, Michael said, all right, he was great help in the beginning. Well, he still is, but he's a big help. And he said, all right, so build a list and call everybody and invite them. And in doing so, I had to reach out to some of the people that I told initially about EXP, and they weren't really interested. And I remember one guy said, so you having any success? You making any money? That's what he said. You making any money? And I said, yeah. And he goes, not your real estate sales. I mean, like revenue share. And I said, yeah, I cannot even believe it, man. I brought a few agents over and a few more and brought a couple pretty good agents over. I think I had 4 agents. Now I kind of got lucky. A couple of them were pretty good, and they all had closings at the same time. Had a check for $4,400. And I was like, yeah, I got a revenue share check for $4,400. The guy was like, you got to be kidding. And I said, no. And he goes, oh, when's this event? And he shows up, brings a friend. They both sign up, and then, downhill from there. But interestingly enough, that guy, because I did just what you told me in the beginning, Jay. So that guy is the guy that prior to coming to the company, I sent the video to 3 people. and said, hey, I know, like, and trust you, you know, like, and trust me. Need you to take a look at this, tell me what I'm missing. And one of those guys sent it to another guy. So I had 4 people basically looking at it. And they all 4 said, hey, I don't really see any problem with it. It might be a good fit for you, but we're not interested. We're not doing this, or not anytime soon. So, but today, 3 of those 4 are with me. The other one almost keeps coming over about twice a year every now and then, but I'm not sure. He's an older guy, might not be a fit for him. But, those guys that came over, they came to the Michael Reese event, 2 of the 4, and signed up right away. One of them had already come over to the company. So that was a big deal. So you get, like anything, you got to get a little momentum,
Right.
And then figure out what you did and figure out what you didn't do. And from there, it was just events and invite and lunch and learns and smaller events like Michael had. And can't do what Michael can do on stage, but I can try hard and I can come close. And that's something to invite somebody to and add some value and, tweak it from there.
And so one of the things that I feel like you've done a really good job of, and I'm not even sure what you're using technology wise to kind of keep up with people, but I feel like you've done a really good job of following up with folks over time. Yeah. Especially, the numbers of people that you've talked to that said no before. What is your follow up? What does that look like when you're following up with folks?
Yeah. So that, this, about a year ago, I figured out, after working on this pretty hard, it's just a process. So in the beginning, the no's hurt. And, but since then it's just a process. So I try to review my conversations, review what's working, what's not. The follow-up though is all about, they're on a list, and then they're on a segmented list. And, I have a tool that I can put people in a CRM software. Sorry about that. And,
are you using CRM Grow? Is that what you're using?
Yeah, I was using Expert Mentors at first, and then CRM Grow. Basically the same. I like CRM Grow a little bit better because I can take and more so labels and move people around. So
right.
I have pretty I have a hot bucket, a warm bucket, a nurture bucket, a new lead bucket, a cold bucket. And so when I have a conversation at the end, I can move you. Like, you were warm, now you're hot. You were hot, now you're not coming, so you're a nurture. And right. So I like that I can move people around in there, but I'm not a guy that really gets on the phone a whole lot and calls you. Now, I will call you over and over forever, but it's pretty far spread out. So in the beginning, I would call, and it's him again. No, I don't want. No, it's been a week. I still haven't changed my mind. Still don't want to come over. So now I'm more about trying to find something to invite you to, or to give you some information about the company, or make an offer to hop on a strategy call. I'm trying to add some value to get back into a conversation, as opposed to, it's him again. And no, I'm not ready to talk about it yet.
Right. So as your group was growing, there's probably a certain number that you got to that you started to feel the need to kind of lead some of those people that were focused on building. How did you identify who was going to be focused on that? How did you get them involved? Because this is a big deal, and I think you did a great job of it. As I go through the list of people that are on the top 200, and we're about to release it. I've got this cool little graphic that we have for group size now that I have that data, because I couldn't see everybody's group size within the platform.
Oh, cool.
Now we have that data, so we have now I can see how many people that are, even if it's outside of our 7 levels, I can see how many's in the group size. So you're in like the top, 15 or 20 people in our entire group group size. And so, but you also have probably as many or more than anyone else in our entire group that are also on that list up high, right? So you've got some good builders that, in my mind, may or may not have joined for the opportunity, but they got interested, had some success, and became real leaders within your organization. Can you talk a little bit about how you got them involved, how you helped them to do what you were doing in terms of the revenue share side of the business? Obviously, we plug everybody in real estate. How did you get them plugged into that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So part of it was that, and just in the beginning, it was just really a blessing in that I saw the revenue share. I was hopeful, as we've discussed before. I didn't know for sure if it worked. I tried many things in real estate that didn't work that I thought might work. So I wasn't, I was hopeful, but at best. But in finding the right people to talk to. So, looking back, one of the things that's super important to understand and to learn is, when I'm having conversations with agents now, it's just as much me thinking about if I want them or if I think they're a good fit. Heck, forget what they think. We can get to that later. I mean, I take it into consideration, but it's way more important if I think they're a good fit. And then for me to have the ability to communicate the opportunity, the message to that agent, which is not the same communication and conversation as it is to any other agent because they have unique needs. So in realizing that, I'm able to bring on people that I think are a good fit. Do they all last? No. Do they all take off revenue share? No. But, at least I'm identifying people that I think can do this. And then like my key, some of my key people that I've helped bring over, I'm a little bit interesting. And then I brought over some key people that I helped them bring over key people. So I went deep in the very beginning.
Yeah.
And going deep like that and helping those guys understand, they're out building also. So, I try to go wide and deep. Oddly enough, it's a little easier for me to go deep because I can sell an opportunity like, hey, if you come over, you have them and you have me and you have Jay, where it's just a little harder going, well, you have me and you have Jay. It's a little different sales pitch. So it's identifying that person that you think will be good for the model and then actually trying to help them with the model and showing the tools and, hey, here's how I do it. Here's how you may want to do it. And then just following up and checking in on them to see if they're getting any traction. And, it's pretty cool too, because some people you think, I don't know if they'll do it. They do it. And then others that you think they'll do it for sure might struggle a little bit.
Right.
It's a new day. So, maybe they'll start today. So it's really just identifying. And then when you get some builders, they have the mindset of building. So kind of grow from there.
How important do you feel like it is to get to help them get that first person over? Are you spending time with every person and making sure that they're at least recruiting through them and making sure that they're experiencing that? And what is what's that? What happens when they have that first deal that closes? Does that change their spirits a little bit?
It does. It's really strange. I had a lady several months back. She's like, hey, I just had my first close. I'm a owner of the company. And I was like, that's fantastic. If you calculated the percentage of that, it's pretty low, but she is an owner of the company and that's fantastic. I try, here's the response from most agents is when they first come over. Yeah, that's, I'm happy I'm here. Let me have some success. And then we'll talk about agent attraction. Right. And that's a mistake. If I can gently explain to you that that's not great and that what we can do is here's what I tell the agents that may not want to spend any time with us. I say, don't. That's fantastic. So what Jay and the software gentleman that started Expert Mentors told me on a phone call in the very beginning was, hey, Dan, here's what we want you doing. And I'm like, yeah, what is it? And the guy said, nothing. I was like, wow. He goes, find somebody interested in the opportunity and get them on, get them a video and get them on the phone with Jay. And that's what we do today. So, but now instead of me seeing if they're interested in EXP, I see if they're interested about a real estate opportunity. And because it is about EXP, but the conversation I try to have it. I'm up front. It's about EXP, so I don't want to trick anyone, and I'm not leading you down some rabbit hole and then it's EXP, But we're having conversations on what do you need, what does your business need. The more I talk about them and less me and EXP, the better off the conversations usually go.
Right.
Yep. So you gotta help them, gotta try to help them, but it's kind of hard to do. Here's the deal. If you remember, Jay, I'm still haven't got off the plan from day one was to get 10 people to get 10 people.
Right.
The 10 by 10 plan, right? Now we both know that it had to be tweaked a little bit along the way. So maybe it's 40 to get to 10. So don't get me wrong, I'm not stopping at 10 FLQA. Right. But to get 10 FLQAs that have 10 agents, I don't know. Maybe we have to go to 50. Maybe we have to go to 60. I don't know.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I mean, there's certainly going to be some that are just not going to do it, and some that will. So, but yeah, no, that's great. So, all right. So, let's talk just a little bit about the onboarding. One of the things that you've done a really good job of is really making sure people get onboarded, I think, correctly and are not feeling like lost sheep. What is that? What are you doing to make sure that when somebody does come over to EXP, they get plugged into not just stuff that we're providing them as part of the Honey Badger group, but also the EXP side of things? What are you doing? What does that process look like?
Yeah, so that's great. One thing that I'm not able to do quite as much is I used to call and welcome everyone when they showed up in my back office. And those are some pretty cool phone calls. Hey, this is Dan Hilsman, just a real quick call. I want to welcome you to eXp Realty. I'm so excited you came along, joined. You got a minute, tell me a little bit about yourself. Those are great phone calls. I can do those all day because, people, they're surprised, they're grateful, and it's, a nice welcoming phone call. So I don't think I ever got any of those calls in my past, past brokerages that I worked at. So, then let them know here's my number. But to answer your question more specifically on the onboarding is, as soon as they're in enterprise, I set a phone call. One of my big takeaways when I came out and met with you and Michael prior to you guys move was, sitting there and watching Woods do a plan, an action plan about, how many houses are we going to sell? What are we going to do to make that happen? And then let's put that in writing, and then let's review it again in 30 days and tweak it if we need to. And, here's my calendar, or here's my, phone, and you can call me at any time, and we'll, this is just a plan. So if we're going to hit 24 units or 50 units, how are we going to do that? And then let's look at it, and maybe we'll do a little bit less of this that's not working and a little bit more of the stuff that's working. So it really, really embraced the fact that it really is a partnership. And if you don't think it's a partnership, then you probably won't be able to do this at quite as high a level as if you realize it is a partnership. And the more you can help agents with what their needs are, the more you can grow. And then that actually will help you go deep, because then you can help those agents to help other agents. And that's what I love about the company is we're helping agents help agents and grow. And it's a beautiful thing.
Yep, that is the key right there. It's all about the partnership, adding value to people's lives. That's the, this is the agents that join our opportunity, but they're also our responsibility. And when you treat it that way, it's real hard not to grow, right? Yep. It's real hard not to grow if you're just genuinely adding value and helping people with their business. And something I think that's going to happen that I feel like this is starting to evolve to is in every company that I'm aware of, when you join, you don't get anybody that helps you with getting leads turned on and really genuinely helping someone start to get into the business and have success. So, you're lucky if you go to a brokerage, they provide you any technology or they provide you any of the tools that you need to be successful, but you certainly don't get the coaching and mentoring that you need in order to be successful. Right. And so agents struggle. And, now that when we bring people on, to eXp, we can literally turn on leads for them, help build out their funnels, do things that I feel like should have been a standard in the industry to help people get into the business and be successful. And I think in the future, what we're doing here is going to be what everyone else ends up having to do to stay afloat, is that level of adding value to agents as they're joining and really helping them get into the business and start having conversations and people to talk to, because most people don't have enough of a sphere of influence and enough to get started and to get some momentum in the business. And so I love that conversation of, what we're doing to help agents is really what this is all about. If anybody wants to know the secret to why we're growing so fast, it's not opportunity because we're actually helping people. Right. Yeah. So
we care. We actually care. So
I love that. I love that you mentioned earlier about the who you're looking for. You're evaluating whether they're a good fit as much as they're evaluating.
Sure.
Right. And that's what we're growing this company with, the kind of people that we want to be around, that want to grow and help other people. And that's there's a secret sauce in here in the culture of this company, because we only attract the kind of people that are abundant and want to help and give back. And so certainly amazing business model. All right. So anything in particular, as far as your process, having conversations with folks, you've mentioned, having conversations about their business, but is there any one script or anything that you use that's really worked well for you as far as getting someone at least interested? And then what's the process for you? Where do you take them to? A video? Do you invite them to, what are you inviting them to watch? Is there a particular video you like better than others? What's kind of, how do you evaluate that process?
Yes, that's a great question too. So, the audience, the reason that I'm able to do this is because I've studied it really hard and I've flown places and I've talked to people. So, anything that you're hearing me say today, I've learned bits, I've taken little bits and pieces from different folks. So One of the bigger things down in Key West was when Gene Frederick said, quit talking to people who don't want to talk about eXp Realty. And then at the end of that mastermind, he went around the room and said, hey, what was your big takeaway? And I said, I don't talk about eXp nearly as much, because I was trying to find people to force eXp on them instead of finding people that were open to an opportunity, that wanted to have a conversation about their real estate business, and then to see how I could help them grow their real estate business through the model of eXp.
Right.
So that was a big deal. So in knowing that, that was able to kind of throw the script out the window. Now, not to say I don't have a script, it's more of a roadmap, a direction I'm going in the head, but I try to really just have and this has helped me a lot, is I try to just have a normal human conversation. So a little bit better than a script. And when I talk to someone for the first time, I ask them about themselves. And it's kind of easy with COVID. Prior to COVID, people think that's kind of weird. What do you want to know about me for? But how's business going? How do you like your broker? How do you like your brokerage? If I can get to those questions, that's great. But if not, I can get to how's business going. Hey, what do you need help with? If I, hey, I've been licensed a long time. I can be of some help to you. What does your business need? So once I can get that they're open, because like we know, if their gate's closed, I don't need to talk to them about it anyway. So if they're open hearing about an opportunity, try to have a conversation and let them know I might be of some help to them. Have some, at this point, hey, there's usually two ways I can get you some more information about this. Is I can send you a video that explains the opportunity. It's about 36 minutes. Or would you rather hop on a live webinar with my mentor and friend, partner, Jay Kinder? And Jay sold 531 homes one year. I think you get a lot of value out of that. But which would you rather do? And, if you give someone a choice, they're likely to pick one or the other. So I really, I don't have a real big preference. I mean, if they would actually do both, I'd say watch the video, call me back. Let's answer some questions, and let's hop on with Jay. Then we can ask him some questions. So that is the process: is to find somebody open, to see if I could be of help to them, to see if they're open to hearing about a change someday. And, big takeaway too in Mexico was, hey, this might not be a good fit for you, but I'll be happy to take some of my time and explain it to you to see if we could be of some help to you. Hey, this might not be a good fit for you. Well, now their guard's down. Right. The gate's more likely to get open a little bit, because now I'm not trying to just pounce on them to recruit them.
Right.
Yeah. So that's a big deal. So I try to keep it super simple. I want a decent conversation, find out if they're open, tell them I might could be of some help to them. Would you rather watch a video or a webinar? All right, great. If you're watching the webinar, I'm going to call you back. It's over at 2. Yeah. I call you back as soon as it's over. Actually, what I learned from Brian Carruthers was tell them to call me back. And then he said, but they're not going to call you back hardly ever. But, it's a test. And then if they do call you back, it's a big deal. So,
right.
Sorry about that.
What percentage of people would you say that actually watch? Because you can see in CRM Grow and in Expert Members, if they watched it all, how much of it they watched.
Yep.
When somebody does invest the time to watch the whole video, what percentage of the time are you getting those agents over? Or what would you say that you've learned and paying attention to who's making that investment of time? Yeah,
so most of them will not watch the video. So right. I was able to get that up a little bit by when I knew their need, and then tell them that need's going to be answered, and they're going to discuss that need in the video. Now you got to watch them about the 20-something minute mark. They're going to talk about your problem and the solution. So it's a really low number. And then one strategy is to watch the video with them. Haven't got there yet. I probably should, but I didn't used to do listing presentations on a slideshow with a computer at people's kitchen table, because if you came into my kitchen and tried to show me a slideshow, I'd either sign up or throw you out. Right. So because I don't want to sit there and watch that, right? So I'm just not that kind of guy. So I heard a guy once say, "Hey, I tell him, hey, so I'll send you this video. It would be great. We'll watch it together. Wouldn't you like to watch a video with me?" And I'm thinking, I don't want to watch a video with you. Right. So, kind of like I don't knock on people's door, because I don't really want you knocking on my door. Right. So it just doesn't work for me. I think you should do it, though. I mean, I think it's a great plan. I know agents that do it. They have a higher level of success. But I'll send them the video, and then I use the Brian Carruthers stuff about, hey, so when will you watch it? And I get them a commitment. And then if they do watch it or don't, I still follow up at that time. Then if they watch it, I ask them what they like best. If they watch the whole video, that number's probably pretty high to come over. Right. And if I would say shoot, I'd probably get half those over if I just continue to have really good follow up, and it's just a matter of time. Unless
Right.
it just so half of them might not be a fit for.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Big deal. So that's. I mean, I think that's an important thing. I don't know. I always say I don't know anybody that's joined the EXP that didn't watch at least 8 videos. You know what I'm saying before they join. And so the struggle is getting them to do that, right? Because this is an educate and inform process, and it's hard to educate. And I think what you've learned is as well as you're having conversations with people, trying to explain the EXP model and how it's going to solve their problems. Not an efficient, not very efficient, effective way to keep that gate of the mind open. They listen just for a little bit, and then they they basically write it off as not going to help them with their problem. But if you can tie it with some enthusiasm to watch the video about and how that's going to help solve their biggest problem, then you get more people to watch the video. The more people that watch the video, the more people that come over, right? So
for sure.
And the skill that has to be learned, I believe, is getting them excited and interested enough to invest, an hour of their time or 36 minutes of their time to look at the opportunity. Because what we know is we did the same thing. We didn't look at it, and then we did, and then we saw the opportunity. And that's what has to happen for other folks. But the better you are at getting people to excited enough to that you can solve their problem by them watching this video is going to give you a lot bigger lift in terms of the success of people coming over. I know that's a struggle that I have conversations with people every day about.
Then there's the add-on, so if they watch the video, then I tell them, hey, the good news is that's just out of the core. So that explains the model.
Right.
So when I found the company, loved the model, but got with the right group of guys to help me help agents at a higher level. So now what we need to do is hop on a webinar with Jay and then look at the model, but also how our group can help you sell more homes. And some of the things that our group have that you didn't see in the model explained video. So this is a really big deal. So it's kind of like the icing on the cake. So now let's hop on that. And so if I can get you to watch the video and then get on with you, then and if I do decent follow-up, I tell people it's not magical at that point. A few of them will sign up right then, but not most of them. Most of them have, especially if they're good agents, right? They have deep roots. So it's going to take a while to move them.
Yep.
So then they have to think about it. Then they almost come over, then they don't. Then they almost come over, then they might, and then they don't, and then they do. It's kind of sort of typical. Yeah. Doesn't always happen that way, but that's,
Yeah, it definitely has been the case, I think, for most all of us, is that, some people, it's timing is everything. I don't know. What would you say the average time for someone that you talk to come over is, if you had to put an average on it? I know they're all different, right? Some people a year later they come over or whatever.
Right. Well, it's probably 4 months is my guess. And the reason for that is you have a few that come over. Like I had 2 of them in the last 6 months come over. Heck, right away. I mean, like one of them, she was just ready, right? So had a great conversation. Sent the Brent Go video. She watched it. She hopped on the next day with you. She signed up the next day, was on the next day. I was like, holy cow. And so that happens. But, I also brought over a guy 2 years to the day because I had it on Expert Mentors that I sent him the first video. But he kept telling me he was coming. So there's something to be said where you got to be gentle and you have to be compassionate and understanding. And I tell people, look, this is a big deal. We're not figuring out what you're going to have for dinner. And if we mess that up, you can have dinner again tomorrow, right? I mean, we're moving. And jokingly, I say, prior to XP, I would get recruitment calls and say, what, heck, if somebody asks me, what don't you want to do today off the top of your head? I go, I probably don't want to go to the doctor, and I don't want to change brokers, So I try to remember that because I didn't hear about it. And not that people called me. I'd get Keller Williams calls. I didn't get any EXP calls, but, I did remember looking back, and I didn't want to talk to those guys.
Yeah. Right. 100%. So let's shift gears a little bit to what's your day look like now? Like what does a day in the life of Dan Hilsman today look like?
Yeah, well, it's a blessing, and I'm super grateful for I'm busier than I ever was before. I kind of had it down to where I don't tell anybody, but I can kind of sort of almost work part-time and sell $4 million in real estate. So, some of those days back then, I probably worked 12 hours, and some of them I probably worked 2. Didn't aspire to sell a whole bunch of homes just because I didn't want to be crazy and nuts. And looking back, if I'd had a little help on some systems or the right hires, it could have been a lot different. But to answer your question, so wake up, I make my list of people I need to call. I look at my calendar to see who's on the call for today. Put out a few fires, start a few fires, and then it's just a matter about trying to help people throughout the day. I'm still selling houses. So, yesterday I got a listing under contract that had trouble getting under contract for a while, a little bit overpriced at the top of the range. We'll put it that way.
Right.
And so, that's under contract. And, then I'm reaching out to agents. So I'm still working with buyers and sellers. And I will also reach out to agents that are in the group to see how I could help them. So some agents in my group don't need any help. If I call them, they'd probably be bothering them more so than anything. And then some agents need a little bit of help, and some agents need a lot of help. And so trying to figure out how to help those agents, which is pretty cool. So just briefly, I can take you, like I had a guy recently said, all right, what do I do? And I'm like, all right, well, luckily I've been doing this long enough to know that I'm not going to tell you what you should do. If I had a magic wand, you're going to make FSBO and expired calls for 3 hours, and then you're going to do open houses. So I can tell you what I would like to have you do, but don't know if you're willing to do that. So let's dig into this a little bit better. Will you do open houses? Will you prospect on the phone? Will you knock on doors? Will you pay some money for some internet leads? So with this company, it's no longer me being the team leader or the broker in charge and telling people how to do their job and what they need to do. It's more of like come on, put my arm around you and let's figure this out together. And then I'll help you. Now, we can't take on too many of those agents, but, to get to the 10 or the 50 or the 100, whatever that number is,
right,
there is a need for having some of those agents along the way. And that's pretty darn rewarding. I had a lady recently call. She got her first listing, so that was super exciting. So I still work a little bit with buyer sellers, work a lot with current agents. And then I work a lot with agents that are here that are builders, trying to help them bring on people. And then I have to remind myself every now and then, hey, knucklehead, you better get on the phone and call some people for yourself to come over, because the whole thing hinges on me continuing to bring agents over personally and learning how to do that at a higher level, or the model doesn't make nearly as much sense if you can't continue to do that for yourself.
Right. Does your group, and so let's talk about the first year and three-way calls and how that was utilized and what your team is doing now in terms of three-way calls and how much of that are you doing on a daily basis, if any?
Yeah. All right. So that's a big deal. It's a struggle in that that's the key performance indicator is three-way calls. So, in the beginning I had, I don't know, we probably had over 100 three-way calls. Don't do it as much as I should, probably even still. I've probably gotten away from that a little bit more. Part of that's calendar challenges on both our ends. But, I just actually created a Calendly call for three-way calls. So I had a lady yesterday, one of my agents, first level agent yesterday, say, hey, can we, set up this call? And I said, yeah. So I'll put my calendar and click on the three-way call. So that'll help. That's going to help a lot. I'm still to the point too, though, with the, if you want to just text me when you can do it, then I'll look at the time and confirm. So trying to help those agents do that. Understand the three-way call.
Yeah. How many agents are leveraging you for three-way calls? And so the first year, I went back and looked in my, my Schedule Once account to see how many calls I had, and it was 999 calls. And I was like, holy moly, it seems like a lot of calls, but it's like 3 a day or whatever. But, what I remember that whole first year that, your whole first year that you were at EXP, I can look at my calendar every week and I saw your name 2-3 times a week in terms of three-way calls. And so it was, I knew you were going to be successful because that is the key performance indicator that's going to determine growth, is how many conversations you're having. Now, you get to a certain point and, the people that you were bringing on were leveraging me. They still leverage me when they need me for a three-way call. Mm-hmm. That's what this is all about. I'm happy to do it. Was there a point where you started, because you've been on so many of them, right? And you heard me say whatever I say, 1,000 times. When did you feel comfortable that, just start taking those calls on, and how did you get your people to start leveraging you for those types of calls?
Well, I'm a student of the game, so I was ready pretty early. I mean, at one point, you even told me, you said, "Hey, you can start taking some of these calls, the ones that, you let me know." He said, "Hey, call me as much as you need to, but if you wanted to, you can start taking some of these." So, yeah, I was in the beginning aware that I was going to do that. So I tell all my agents, give me a call. Heck, I do 3-way calls for people not in my group. So,
Right.
not too many, but I have done some, and that's very rewarding as well. But yeah, I let them know. I had a guy that looked at Enterprise the other day popped up, and I called the agent. I said, "That's fantastic." So glad to see he's on, but I didn't know anything about it, and that's so great and not great, right? Because like, who is this person, and are they really on? Are they kind of on? What are they seeing? What do they know? I don't, not that I need to know everything, but it would be helpful to let me help you a little bit, or to know where they're at in the process.
Right.
Just because I've dove head first into it. So, if you come on and you haven't seen a video or you haven't talked to someone, then you're just on at some real estate company.
Right.
And that's not great. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Good deal. I love that you're paying attention to that, because it definitely makes a difference.
Oh yeah, it was I mean, I was like, wow, that's great, and not really.
Right. So yeah. So what is there anything? So one of the challenges I think a lot of people have is you get to a certain point where you've kind of exhausted the relationships with people. Yeah. You beat down those doors as often as you can, and creating new relationships becomes the goal, right? And so what systems or tools or ways are you creating new relationships through Facebook, or creating content, or right. LinkedIn? What are ways that you're creating new relationships now moving forward?
Yep. So that's a great question. On the, I do have some LinkedIn strategy that identifies people that are open to an opportunity, and I can hop on a call with them. But in the beginning, it was a big problem. I remember I actually woke up one day and thought, holy crap, what do I do now? I don't know who else to talk to that knows me. And then if you're talking to someone that doesn't know you, it's a totally different conversation. So what I've learned over the last year or so about that is baby steps. So, I'm a big seed planter. Hey, let's have a conversation. And they're everywhere. Agents are everywhere, right? So if it's linked, I have some LinkedIn strategies where people reply back. They might be open to hearing about an opportunity. Lately I've been talking to a lot of agents on that call on a listing. And then try to have a human conversation with these people. So I had a lady not too long ago called just last week on a listing, and she had a pretty sad personal story about her family, and has a entrepreneurial type business also, but she's been forced to really work hard in the real estate industry. So I told her, my heart goes out to her. Enjoyed talking to her. Hopefully we can co-op on this deal. But if not, you know what? Would it be okay if I circle back to you in a few days to talk to you about a real estate opportunity? Love to see if I could help you if I can. Not really sure if I can, but let's at least have a conversation if you're open to it, to see if there's might be something I could do. So once you kind of get it out of your head that I'm trying to find people to recruit, I'm genuinely going to call this lady and see if maybe I have a better option for her. Right. And now that's not recruiting an agent that called on my listing. That's trying to be helpful on, the planet to help somebody at a higher level. So, I don't do that even close to all the time, but if it's a pretty nice agent, if they're friendly, if they're not trying to get off the phone, I start tiptoeing. They don't know what I'm doing, but hey, so how's business? Then you got to listen. And then when they tell you, say, yeah, so love where I'm at, or sometimes I'll mention love eXp Realty. Or, I stumbled into this unbelievable real estate opportunity. Would you be open to hearing about a real estate opportunity sometime down the road? And they go, yeah. So, okay, I'll circle back to you at the end of the week or next week if you want to talk about it. Yeah. And then I stop right there. So that way I'm not blasting them with eXp. I'm not getting a hard no, and then on the second call, it's about, trying to figure out what they need. How can I be of help? What does your business need? And the cool thing about eXp, prior to eXp, I'd go, well, I was doing this or this, but now, if they want to sell a whole bunch of homes, I plug them into NAEA. If they're newer and want a 28-day fast start program, we have that. If they need some accountability coaching, I get them to Sekou, so more of like, go over there.
Right. There's there's really, I think the key takeaway is that you've identified within our organization of agents at EXP that there's not a problem that you have as an agent that we couldn't help solve for them, right?
That's it.
And you're able to match that up, whatever it might be, based upon what their needs are, what they're willing to do, not willing to do. You're genuinely getting to know them and help them and point them in the right direction where that help is located within the group. So
for sure,
there. That's good stuff. What do you think the biggest mistake agents are making in agent attraction? What would you say the biggest mistake you see agents make?
Yeah, trying to recruit agents, trying to find somebody to talk to bring them over to EXP. Yeah. I mean, I'm finding people to talk to bring them to EXP, but my angle's different than it was in the beginning. So, you know, if you really can figure out how, you know, I pray to be able to communicate this message a little better. I still have a story. Golly, it still breaks my heart. I mean, I don't wear it too heavily, but, you know, there's a gentleman at the beginning and he sells a lot of houses. And the reason he sells a lot of houses is to provide water filters for kids and people in places that have dirty water.
Right.
And so, you know, that was really early on and probably messed the whole thing up. And he's like, no, I'm probably going to stay here, but I might go to this transaction company and open up in 3 different states. And I'm like, going, golly, you know, man, so that's tough though, because you know, what if he would have came over here and then blew it up? Then so many more people would have fresh water than have fresh water today. And so, you know, waking up with that, like I said, I don't wear it too heavily, but it does still bother me a bit. And he's doing well. He's very successful, and I don't know that he would have been more successful here. I don't have the crystal ball, but you know, got a sneaky feeling he might have, and if he did, you know. So if you look at it more of just the bigger picture, there's always a bigger picture. So if you look at it more of the bigger picture of who's the agent and then how can you help them? And then, you know, maybe you can help them just a little bit, but maybe they know an agent you can help. So I'm also big on going, you know, Michael Reese blew my mind, man, in Texas when he's talking to this lady. And I'm listening to him on a call and the call's going fairly well, a little bit of normal type resistance. And then he kind of paused and I'm probably like on my phone taking notes or something. One looking at me goes, hey. And I was like, what the heck's going on? I look up, I mean, his tone changed. The whole thing just totally changed. And then the lady like paused and she said, what? And he goes, I need you to make me a promise. And she's like, and then she like paused again. And I'm like thinking, what in the heck? And then he goes, you need to promise me right now that if you're not the agent that I'm looking for a really good agent, just like you in your area, and I need to find that agent. So if it's not you, that's fine. But then you need to promise me right now, you're going to help me find that agent. And then she just paused and goes, but Michael, I want to be that agent. Right. I got a seat for you right here. So, you know, he was trying to let her know that, hey, he could do a lot and be a big help to her. But, yeah, that was a big deal for me. Just you know, breaking up the flow of the conversation was a big deal.
He did the pattern interrupt.
Oh man, it was ninja stuff. So he had this lady wanting to come over, but she wasn't going to come over right then because she loved her broker. She was even trying to talk him into just helping her broker and their company with all the stuff he was doing. He's like, why would I do that? Y'all, I'll come over and I'll help you. But yeah, it was just unbelievable listening to that. And then I mean, by the time she got off the phone, she wanted to come over. Still wasn't coming over, but then he put the extra burden on her of thinking, gosh, I want to come over and I'm not, but if I don't, then I'm supposed to go find somebody else for it. Right. So that was good stuff.
Greatness. Love it.
Yeah.
So what's the vision for your group? You know, you're actually you're about to hit your freedom number, right? So real close to it before the 3-year anniversary, you'll have hit your freedom number. Which is an awesome feeling. But what? Where's this thing look like? You know, FLQAs for you this year and goals, and then what's the goal for the overall group?
Yeah, so it's you know, it's a big learning experience. So somewhat hit a ceiling-ish type or something where it's going on at 15 FLQA. Now, in fairness, part of that was the company that the rules have always been the same, but they changed the way agents were qualified, calculated. So that's been a battle for that level, and because you know it's a business, and I told you early on, I'm spending a portion of my money, my revenue share money, to grow my revenue share money, and I'm treating it just like a business. So I think I can get to over 25. Let me rephrase that. I will get over 25 FLQA by the end of the year, but I'm also aware, and it's nothing I figured out. I study you, I study Michael, I talk to Brent, Cliff Freeman, I've talked to everyone, all of them, Rob, Gene, Sheila, so they all have a hire. There's someone that I have to find that's going to help me to get to that next level. So either it's a junior partner, or it's somebody running a team for me, or maybe I partner with someone, kind of like you guys have done. I'm not really sure what that looks like, but I'm prayerful and thinking about. And luckily, I'm open enough to know that, hey, the goal is to have this big organization where we're helping a lot of people, and we have well over 40 FLQAs. But I'm also open to maybe how do I get there quicker rather than slower. Yep. But I don't, and correct me if I'm wrong. Well, even if I'm wrong, it's probably not me, but I don't know that it can be done by one man or woman without the right hires and without partnership involved to be over 40 FLQA.
Certainly. Yeah, certainly. There's, it's a challenge. I think, from a coaching perspective, we used to have, about 50 to 60 people that we could lead and manage as a coach. So right. That was kind of a threshold. And so, I think I'm at 86 agents to have 49 qualified, and it's difficult to manage that many people. And so some type of partnership, something there to help with that at a certain point. There's certainly a need there. And, as you know, I've leveraged my son, Braden. He helps people get funnels up and going and getting people into some production, which is a tremendous value because it helps them get into production, which is going to help move them to FLQA. It's going to help them be more successful. It's going to make a better story for them to share with other people, testimonials, proof, everything else. So yeah, it's I think at a certain point that there's an investment in someone to help with leading the group, and that could be through partnership, it could be through building a team, it could be through a whole lot. But
I think I can get to 25 once I'm out of production FLQAs, which is really more like 30 or 40. Well, probably 50-ish FLAs to give you 25-ish FLQAs. I think I can probably get there on my own, but it might be a lot harder and challenging and longer if I don't also be open to seeking to help and to figure out who that person is that can help me, and then what that looks like and how that looks. And so, everybody that's most everyone above me has that person. So not probably quite ready, but it's got to be somewhere around the corner if I'm going to have the kind of growth. Once I have the kind of to have the kind of growth that I'm going to have.
And the group's growth, the group size growth rate is at what right now?
Yeah, so it was 50. When I last looked, it was 50 in the last 30 days. Now,
so you're basically at 10% growth rate per month right now. Which
usually, I was well over. I was hitting 11, 12, 13% month after month, and then I think I had like a 7 and a 6 or something. Then I was about maybe 10.7 last month. So that's a big deal. My challenge though is I'm really heavy on the bottom on my 7 levels.
Right.
So it's. My life will change with 10. My life won't change. My financial life will change with 10 more FLQAs.
Right.
That will almost double my revenue share.
Wow.
And right. Yeah. It's a big deal. So my revenue share now is, where I don't have to sell houses, but then I would be making about the same amount of money as when I was selling houses.
Right.
So, it's not really about selling houses or not selling houses, but it's about the time and then the freedom that allow. But it's the way my line is stacked up. It's, there's a big difference on that 20. I already have over 25. 100 agents on that 25th level, like 117 or something.
Right.
So, that's big. And then 60 or so on that 5th level. So I have like 200 agents that, just out of reach of getting that income, and that'd be a pretty big deal.
Right. Right. So that pace is like basically what, doubling, in 8 months or something like that is.
Yeah. So it took me a little while to figure out, though. That's fantastic, but if I don't hit those levels of income, then it's not fantastic.
Right. You wake up every day knowing exactly what you need to focus on.
Yeah.
clarity.
Well, I mean, just the real numbers. If you're at like 15-ish grand a month and you back your marketing, you back Uncle Sam out and your life out, that's about where I'm at in the world. But if that number was 25 or 30, then stuff changes.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, there's no question you're going to get there. I don't think you the only thing you could do wrong is not get the FLQAs. You know what I'm saying? Yep. That would be the only thing that would preclude you from getting that revenue. It's going to grow. It's going to double anyways, right?
Yep.
It's exciting to see and watch, and proud to be in business with you, my friend.
Yeah, enjoy it. Appreciate you, Jay.
Yeah, man. So any last words you'd share with anyone that's wanting to really step up their game as far as the agent attraction things?
Yeah. So biggest message that I can give you is that treat it like a gift. It is a gift. You have a gift when you're trying to find agents to give this gift to. It's a precious gift. We're changing people's lives. I mean, I have a few gentlemen in our group that, I didn't do all the work, but I present them the opportunity. So if I remember that, when I get a lot of no's or when I get people that, I wish really would have been more open to it, I really do have a gift that I can give to present to folks. And if I can help them to understand that it's a gift, and then, once you give the gift away, it's up to them if they open it or if they use it all the time or if they don't throw it in the drawer and don't use it at all. But it truly is a gift, and it's a big, big opportunity. And if you're aware of that, and then if you treat it that way, and if you present that way, then you'll have more success than if you don't.
Love it. Love it. Great stuff.
Yep.
Dan, always a pleasure to have time to spend with you. I appreciate you sharing your knowledge with everyone, and look forward to continue to grow this thing with you and keep crushing it. As always, if you need anything, reach out to me. I'm always happy to help.
Yep, be happy to. Thanks, Jay.
All right. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you.